What's up, everybody? Kim Becker and Ryan Blackburn here with your weekly AMA for the Denver Nuggets, who are pretty much on fire. The Denver Nuggets, Ryan, obviously the Phoenix Suns have surpassed them to be the favorite to win the West, but I don't know. I still think the Nuggets can do it. I'm sure you probably, hopefully agree with me and can elaborate on why, but we do have a lot of questions that fans sent in. Everyone's, really excited about this team right now, and with only a few weeks left before the playoffs, it's definitely time to really get down and see what you think the next few weeks will unfold like. So our first question is from Peter, and he says, who is the Nuggets' biggest X factor to close out the season?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. And shout out Peter, who I worked with at Denver Stiffs before. This is an interesting one because I think you can go a number of different directions on X factor. I think how I define X factor personally is who is going to be like, they could be really helpful, they could not be really helpful. What is the variability there? And I would probably say Reggie Jackson is the guy that I look at as the biggest variable for this team. Listen, he's just brought in. I think he's played 4 games so far for this Nuggets team. And they are trying their best to figure out what his role is going to be going forward, what it looks like. And I think you can go a number of different directions. The Nuggets have tried him being the 7th or 8th man off the bench. They've tried him being the 6th man. I think in their ideal world, he would be pretty close to a 6th man in terms of being that guard off the bench that really gives them a little bit of a punch. Maybe that Bones Highland didn't necessarily, like he was trying to do at one point, and then they decided to go a different direction. I think I can see a couple different ways that Reggie Jackson could either be this awesome 6th man off the bench, this awesome guy who really helps them out, or he could be like stuck on the sidelines for the entirety of the playoffs, depending on how these next 19 or so games go. This last game against Houston, he did a great job of setting the table for the rest of the team, playing his game, doing a great job of pushing the pace, making sure that the team was doing the right thing. I think that as he gets more comfortable within the scope of this team, I think we are going to see Reggie grow within that role. I think we are going to see him do a lot of good things for that second unit. Michael Malone today, Thursday at practice, was very, very interested in allowing Reggie to be Reggie and saying he went up to him and said that. And then Reggie, even though he took 11 shots, he had 8 assists compared to just 1 turnover. And that was a really, really impressive performance, even though it came against the Houston Rockets. So it's going to be interesting. I think you can make a claim for a number of different guys, but the most important thing for this Nuggets team is that they go forward and see what Reggie Jackson can do for the rest of the regular season.
All right. We love that. Okay. We've got another question here from Yup. So I don't know. Do you know who Yup is?
I love that. Trying to figure it out every day.
We'll figure it out every day. All righty. Should the Nuggets go for the best record in the NBA at the risk of not resting their players?
Yeah, I think Yup actually has a really good point here. I think he is very interested in whether Jokic is going to play second night of back-to-backs, if Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, guys like that have been dealing with some nagging injuries here. Are the Nuggets going to go for it? Are they going to put those guys at kind of a risk to get some injuries, or are they going to maybe sit back a little bit, relax, rest their guys, and make sure that they're as ready for the playoffs physically as possible? I don't know. I wish I had a better question. I wish I had a better answer for this, if I'm being honest. I think that Denver, like Michael Malone, wants to have the best record in the NBA. I think it's actually a really big point of bragging rights. I think it's something that he would love to be able to say heading into this postseason. But it's also maybe not in the best interest for the Nuggets if Jamal Murray doesn't get the rest that he needs, if Aaron Gordon doesn't get the rest that he needs. KCP has played a ton of games. He hasn't really had that much time off. Nikola Jokic could always use some time off given the role that he plays for this Nuggets team. So if it were up to me, I would just focus on getting the 1 seed and then worrying about the other stuff later. It would be nice to have a better record than the Celtics or the Bucks, but those teams are rolling right now. It feels like it's very difficult to catch up with what those teams are doing. So if I were the Nuggets, I would focus on the West. I would make sure that they cross that magic number threshold that they have to get the 1 seed in the West, and then you start resting your guys only if the actual record and the best record in the NBA, if that is within reach, that is the only time that they should go for it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, it's bragging rights, and it's also just when you look back at the whole of the regular season and you have the most wins, the best record in the NBA, it just also is more umph to tell you and to make you feel confident in the fact that you are the best team in the league. So I agree with you. I think they should go for that. If it's within reach, they should go for it all the way. Why not? This next question, I have a fantastic answer for. I think it's from Mike. Should I bet the over on Jamal Murray threes until he passes the franchise record? My vote is yes.
I think so too, Kim.
Yep.
I think that this is he's been great, especially just attempting and getting up as many threes as possible. I think what we've seen from Jamal over the course of these last 7-8 games that he's played or so is he's getting up threes. He's getting them up at a larger rate, at a higher rate, a quicker rate than any time before in his career. And when he takes these many threes, he's going to score, he's going to play well, and he's going to hit those threes. And I think he's really, really close to that franchise record. I want to say that he's 11 away from it. So yeah, I would say, Mike, definitely go for it. Like this is a good space that Jamal is in right now. I'm not sure what it's going to look like against Memphis. I think that they're a team that is really physical with him. That's probably going to try to prevent him from getting to that 3-point line. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he has an opportunity and still goes for it and catches fire at home. Hopefully that's what happens.
Hopefully. Make some money, Mike. Good luck. Let us know how that one goes. I'm curious to see if you're going to be rolling in the green there. I hope so. Okay, our next question from Mario. Which bench player will be the most important come playoffs?
Yeah, shout out Mario. He and I had a great conversation in the MHS offices a couple days ago. I think that this will be a very, very interesting playoffs for the bench as a whole. I think the starters are pretty solidified, but if I had to guess, it's still Bruce Brown, who is the guy that is the most important bench player. He has a role, and the Nuggets are still trying to figure out what his role is like when Jokic is off the floor. But when Jokic is playing 40 minutes a night in the playoffs, the most important thing that Bruce Brown can do is complement what the big fella does. And Bruce Brown does that extremely well. He cuts, he sets screens, he defends, he spots up from three, he can run some offense. He does a great job of playing around what Jokic does, around what the stars do. And he fits into what the Nuggets are trying to do extremely, extremely well. I hope that continues to go well. I hope that he continues to figure some stuff out. I think that there's some stuff with the bench that he kind of has to figure out. But if I'm projecting anybody actually plays a bunch of minutes with that bench unit, it's going to be Bruce Brown. Okay. He is going to be very, very important come playoff time.
All right. Well, kind of staying on that topic, what's your playoff rotation prediction?
Yeah, this is one that we get a lot just because I think that everybody knows what the starters are going to look like, but everybody also knows that the bench has been such a volatile thing for the Nuggets so far this year and really in their history, at least with Nikola Jokic. So I think that Denver, they're going to play Bruce Brown in that sixth man role. They're going to try to play Reggie Jackson as the second guard off the bench. I don't know whether they're going to play Christian Braun. He's the guy that I think is on the fence. And maybe they go with Bruce Brown as the main guy. And maybe instead of Reggie Jackson, it's Christian Braun. But I think that Bruce Brown is definitely in there. I think that Vlatko Čančar right now is definitely in there. Although he's a guy that you think, hey, maybe they flip him with Jeff Green. Maybe they decide, hey, we need a little bit more of a veteran presence, somebody that can run the defense and run some of the other things a little bit better. I trust Vlatko Čančar. I trust what he's going to do, but I also think that his role will be greatly reduced. Okay. And then Thomas Bryant is the last guy that I'd throw out there. I don't know whether he or Zeke Naji is going to play. I would hesitate about Zeke Naji, although I think we have a question about him coming up. I do think that the most important thing for this Nuggets team is to keep scoring while the bench is in the game. Thomas Bryant helps that. I hope that he continues to get it run, but I don't know if it's going to be an extensive amount during the playoffs, but they will at least try it at the beginning of these playoff series.
All right. That makes sense. Okay. Yes, you mentioned that Zeke Naji was a topic of this next question. So this one's from Andy. Is it too late for Zeke Naji to get back into the rotation this year? Did he miss too much time, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. He was at practice today, and he was getting up some shots with the team while they're going through some shooting drills. He's been a part of things, a little bit more a part of things lately. I'm not sure when he's going to get back and get fully healthy. That's a question for the training staff. That's a question for the players, and I just don't think that we really know at this point. It's going to be interesting. I think that Thomas Bryant is the guy for them at center, and Calvin Booth spoke to the media last week and said, "I truly believe that Zeke Naji is a four, which means that he's probably not going to fit at the center position, probably more of a power forward position." And Denver has their four. They have Vlaco. Vlaco has been really good this year. He's been very, very helpful, has done a lot of great things to help the Nuggets win games. And Zeke did some things to help the Nuggets win games too. So it's not like he can't be a part of it, but being out of the rotation for as long as he has been and then coming back into it, it's going to be really, really difficult to try to figure out just exactly who can help and who can't. I think they might try to get him some run in the last maybe 10 games of the season, see if he could be helpful heading into the playoffs. But beyond that, I'm not sure if they're going to trust him. I would trust him. I think that he's a guy that can play the small ball center position and be really good at that, especially in a playoff context. I don't know if Denver's going to go that direction.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I can't believe there's only a few weeks. Let me talk about this. Only a few games, a few weeks left in the regular season. It feels like we were just talking about the midway point. So crazy to see what has unfolded for this team, but really exciting things ahead. We've got one more question before we wrap this one up from Matthew. What are the odds of Michael Malone and Calvin Booth winning Coach of the Year and EOTY?
The executive of the year there.
There we go. I was going to say executive off. No, of. Okay, exec.
I think that they're probably not high. If we're being honest, they're probably not as high as they probably should be. Michael Malone did a great job. He has done a great job this year. I've been very impressed with the decisions that he's made. I've been very impressed with the overall kind of mentality that he's taken. At the beginning of the season, when the Nuggets weren't playing defense, he was just aghast. He was just very, very surprised at that and pretty disappointed in the team because he knew how capable they were. Well, fast forward in the last 39 games of the season or so, the Nuggets are about the 7th ranked defense. And the reason for that is because they've bought in. They've bought into the system. They're playing for each other. They're going for a championship. And that's twofold. It means that Michael Malone's done a great job as a coach, and Calvin Booth has brought in the right pieces to help this team win a championship. Both of them deserve credit. Yeah. I don't think that either of them is going to get the most credit for what the Nuggets are doing this year. I think that the Coach of the Year side of things, Will Hardy with the Utah Jazz, but Mike Brown with the Sacramento Kings, who are just rolling right now, he is going to be the favorite for that. He's probably going to win that award. I would be shocked if he didn't. And he deserves it. There's no doubt about it with the way that Sacramento's playing. Calvin Booth with the Executive of the Year, though, I don't see any reason why he couldn't win that. Now, maybe James Jones, who just traded for Kevin Durant with the Phoenix Suns, maybe he wins that award. Maybe Brad Stevens, who helped run the Boston Celtics moves this offseason. Yeah. Maybe he's a guy who they trade for Malcolm Brogdon. They add some pieces to their core. Maybe he gets credit for that. In my mind, though, I think that Calvin Booth has done a fantastic job with the additions of KCP, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, trading now for Thomas Bryant, adding Reggie Jackson. They had the pieces in place, but he put together a finished product. And that to me is a really, really great sign of an Executive of the Year.
Executive of the Year. Love it. All right, Ryan. Well, thank you so much. It's been a good week for the Nuggets, a couple games ahead in the next few days. Definitely going to be intriguing to see how they play against Memphis tonight, of course. But excited to chat with you next week after all of those end. And we have more updates about what is going on, who's favored, questions about rotations, I'm sure more of, but really fun things. And we always appreciate your insight. So thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you, Kim. Go Nuggets.